Hi, everyone. Imagine two little boys who are born on the same day. Neither one of them gets to choose their parents or the childhood they'll have. One grows up feeling safe, loved, supported, while the other one grows up surrounded by abuse, violence, fear, and neglect. Years later, one lives a normal life while the other one becomes capable of committing terrible crimes. So, what's the difference? Were they born that way, or did life shape them to who they became? I've always been interested in serial killers because I genuinely want to understand why someone becomes that violent. As someone studying psychology, I think understanding the causes is one of the first steps towards preventing future violence. Today, I'll talk about genetics, childhood trauma, and mental health and brain development. First, genetics. According to S. Alexandra Burt in the Annual Review of Clinical Psychology published in 2022, antisocial behavior develops through both genetic and environmental influences. This surprised me because I used to think people were simply born evil or they weren't. Now, researchers now believe that genes may increase someone's risk for impulsive or aggressive behavior, but they do not decide someone's future. Environment still matters. Second, childhood trauma. According to Katie McLaughlin and Hadley Lambert in Behavior Research and Therapy, published in 2019, childhood adversity changes emotional learning and emotional regulation. According to Katie McLaughlin and the colleagues in BMC Medicine, published in 2020, children exposed to trauma are about twice as likely to develop mental disorders later on in life. This doesn't mean every child who experiences trauma becomes violent, but it shows how powerful early experiences can be. You're not muted, Steve. So, for an example, um, Richard Ramirez is an example many psychologists discussed because he experienced severe abuse, violence, and repeated trauma while growing up. I'm not excusing what he did. I'm showing how many of the same risk factors appear in the research. According to Abby Morano and colleagues in Psychiatric Psychology and Law, published in 2020, many serial killers experience severe abuse during childhood. According to Corinne Reuter and colleagues in Plus One, published in 2022, childhood abuse and neglect were consistently linked with higher psychopathic traits. Finally, brain development and mental health. According to Ashley Turner and colleagues in Brain Imaging and Behavior, published in 2020, researchers found differences in brain regions involved with judgment and impulse control in people convicted of homicide. Brain scans can help researchers understand behavior. According to Esther Giacomo and colleagues in World Journal of Psychiatry, published in 2021, um, psychopathy develops through biological and environmental influences working together. One thing I kept noticing while reading all these studies is that it was never just one explanation. Every article pointed to multiple factors working together instead of one single cause. That really changed the way I think about this topic because it made me realize how complex human behavior actually is. It's easy to look at someone who committed horrible crimes and think they were simply born evil, but research shows the answer is much more complicated than that. To conclude, today I talked about genetics, childhood trauma, and mental health, and the brain. Based on research, I believe serial killers are usually the result of a combination of biology, environment, and life experience rather than one single cause. Understanding these risk factors isn't about making excuses for violent criminals. It's about recognizing warning signs earlier, helping vulnerable children before it's too late, and hopefully preventing future victims. Thank you. That's it.